Okay, let's see if we can get this show on the road here. Let's try that. And then we'll turn the cameras on. They seem to be working. What else do I gotta do? Gotta turn me on. Oh, there we are. All right, I think we're working. Let's do this. Hi, boys and girls. It's me, Butch. My name is David Silvercloud. I'm not native. It just sounds that way. Today is Sunday, the 16th of February, 2025. It's 20 after 3 in the afternoon. The day started out gloomy, and I was going to try out gloomy lighting, but now it's brighter. But whatever. I want to make a video for the purpose of the video is to help boys and girls, men and women who are coming out, because when you're coming out, you have enough problems with relatives and friends, like how you're going to deal with that. But for many gay boys and girls, men and women, the problem is their religion. So today I want to see if I can help you folks with that. And anybody, you may learn a few things of which you were not aware. So I'm going to try to help the who are we there? There we are. Hi. Testing things, see. First of all, Butchie Poo, me. Somebody said I should call myself godless rather than being an atheist. But when I was very young, I was brought up with the fear of God. That was really drummed into me. And, like every time I beat my meat, I thought I was going to hell, and I would write letters to God to forgive me, and then the next day I beat my meat again anyway. And eventually I thought, well, if it was really a nice God, somehow this would be okay. And I was singing in the church choir, and I was that nerdy kid who was a Sea Scout and went to church and sang in the choir, the church choir. But I eventually joined the Navy, and I came out, and I stopped worrying about the whole God thing. And eventually I started getting back into physics, and that caused me to examine the whole God question again. And I actually wrote a book called The Shape of God, which you can download for free at theshapeofgod.com while I'm still above ground. But it's a book form, so you could buy it after I'm dead. You just Google The Shape of God. There's all kinds of booksellers, but you can download a PDF for free or read it online at theshapeofgod.com. So I gave some thought to that. That's why I eventually said, I'm an atheist, because I'm well educated now, and I'm well experienced, and I asked a whole lot of questions, and I came to the realization that the very concept of a God is just ludicrous. It's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that I'm looking at my monitor to see what's happening. It's just silly. So at the end here, for those of you, even though what I'm about to tell you about things in the Bible, even if you just can't let go of your concept of, you can't let go of your whole God idea, I will give you an idea that you can use that will be a really good explanation for what God is, with which you could work. I mean, you can have your God, and Butchie Poo will tell you what God actually is. At least, because you don't really know, really, right? You don't know. Nobody does. So, why I'm here, let's start off with, and for all you guys in India, I've read the Bibles and the Quran and that, but I haven't read really any Eastern texts. I'm only vaguely familiar with them, so I'm not sure what the status is of your Eastern gods in relation to faggots and homosexuals and queers and people like me. I'm a fag, I'm queer. But this can apply to you because you'll see what the Western religions do, and which I'm about to talk about if you ever get around to it, about God. And so I want to talk about the death of Lucifer, I guess, first. Lucifer. Oh, well, let's just talk about the devil, Satan, and Lucifer first off. They're usually interchanged nowadays as being one and the same being. So I'm going to tell you where the three different versions of that word were derived. And sometimes you'll see in the Bible as they'll just say the adversary or something. They won't use the word devil. They won't use the word Satan. They won't use the word Lucifer. But let's go to the word devil. Devil got into the Bible because in the 4th century, Rome was like a decaying urban, like you didn't want to live there, and all the rich people had moved to Constantinople. And so Rome was basically in ruins. The Roman Empire was hundreds of years old now, over 400 or 500 years old now, and it was in decay. And the religious types, the Christians, they finally stopped squabbling amongst the different sects, and they got together and they formed what would be the Roman Catholic Church, and they established it in Rome, and that Rome would be the headquarters. But they needed a Bible, and they assigned a dude named St. Jerome to write it. He had some help, but he had to consult whatever he had available to do a translation into Latin. And a lot of his best sources were written in Greek. And in Greek, the word for adversary, or somebody with whom you do not agree, must have been, we can't be certain, but it makes perfect sense, was diabolos. D-I-A-B-O-L-O-S. Diabolos. And that's derived from two ancient Greek words, dias, coming out of, or as a result of, and bolos, the hit or the hurt. So you can see, if you take those two root words, coming out of the hit or the hurt, it's something that has resulted from some kind of a disagreement. Okay? So the Roman, Jerome did, what are we going to do with this? And they said, we'll just change the O to a U, and forever after, if you read the Latin Bible, it's diabolos, which is just the Greek word changed with the U. Now, when we skip ahead a bit to the 16th century, a guy named Wycliffe translated the Bible into the current English of the time, and for his efforts he was burned alive. But eventually, when the church became English, they needed a Bible, and by the time of King James said, let's settle this, we need an English, we needed a Bible in English. So King James commissioned the writing of a Bible, and since Wycliffe had already done it, they just really took the Wycliffe Bible and changed a few little things, and so the King James Bible is really a spruced up Wycliffe Bible. So now I'm getting to Lucifer. Okay, let's get back to what they had to use was the Latin and the Greek and whatever old Jewish writings they could find, and the Dead Sea Scrolls were not available to them at that time. So the King James people had three sources, and mostly they just used the Wycliffe Bible and the Greek. So sometimes I think they might have translated diabolos, devil, either to devil or to the adversary. Somebody who doesn't agree with you. So like in the Bible you see Jesus was talking to in one case Satan, I'm getting to Satan, but to the adversary, somebody in the crowd said, "You're full of shit." and that wasn't the devil, it was just somebody in the crowd that said, "You ain't fooling me, dude." So there is a Satan in the Old Testament. Satan is a proper name, just like Butch is a proper name, but for me it's a nickname. My proper name is David, or Terry, or Silvercloud is my last name. But my proper name would be David, my nickname would be Butch. And that's how everybody knows me. Where am I going with this? So Satan was like John, Harry, George, something. We don't know, but it's in the Bible. Now there is the possibility that there was a person that got in there whose name was Satan. I really do not know. But in any case, it got into the Jewish writings, and then it got into the Greek writings, and in the Greek writings it was translating as Satanos, Satanos. That was the Greek word for Satan. So I know I'm rambling, but I'm trying to give you the idea that we pretty much all agree they're all the same thing. But I wanted to get into your head why were there three different ones? So Lucifer is easy to fix and get rid of, and in fact Lucifer was gotten rid of almost in 1980. In all of the English Bible, and even in the Anglican Church, they changed their Bible too. They no longer use the King James. Some churches are just so stubborn, they still use the King James Version. But in the Anglican Church, they use what's called the New Revised Version or something. And what it comes down to is a verse which we know, because we found by good fortune in the Dead Sea Scrolls intact, we found the exact wording from the time of Jesus of Isaiah 14:12. And that's the only place where Lucifer appeared in the Bible. So what I'm going to do is go over to my computer here for a second, because I know I made a note of this, because I want to show you this just so you can see this. I got to look down here to do this. Lucifer, this should work it. I'm going to fade you over there. And so you can see on the left, upper left there, is the old King James Version, and on the right is the spruced up version of what it is now. So all of the English speaking Bibles began when they either issued a new version of their Bible, or in the reprint they just changed the wording in Isaiah 14:12 to what you see on the upper left there. I hope I'm doing the right direction there. And to what the original writing should be. Now in the Latin Bible, it's still, in the Roman Catholic Church, it's still the same Latin. And Lucifer is still in the Latin Bible, because that's sort of where it came from. But in the English Bibles, they realized, that's just a big error, and let's go back to the Latin version. In the Latin version, and Jerome, he was trying to translate the wording you see in the upper right of, let me read it because I can't remember what it is. I got to read it. The reading is, "How you have fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn." There's the key words. that's a really good translation from the original Jewish writings from way back in the time of Jesus. So in Jerome's time, Venus, the morning star, must have had the nickname. I don't think Jerome made it up, but there must have been at that time the name for Venus. It was just a really bright star to them. They didn't know it was a planet. They must have called it Lucifer, the bright and morning star. And that is the actual translation that should be there. And what the verse is about is the Jewish people had been freed from their bondage from the Persians after all those many years. And the Persian king was dead. They're all excited about that. Isaiah's all excited about it. He's writing about it. So that's where the bright morning star came from. And then Jerome comes along, and Jerome either stuck in the name of Venus. We don't know. Honestly, we don't know. Am I going the right one here? Oh, good. And Lucifer got into the Latin version, and then it got into the King James version. Now the King James version reads like bright and morning star. It is a problem for some other folks, though. It's a problem for the Church of Latter-day Saints and the Mormons. And the reason it's a problem for them is they copied word for word the King James wording. Like if you look at the wording in the second book of Nephi, I think it's sort of reversed from Isaiah. Isaiah is 14:12. I think in Nephi it's 12:14. It's right around verse 12 of the second book of Nephi. It's the exact same wording as the King James Bible. So if they change their wording, they have to admit their book is fake, because the book they are using was supposedly written at the time of Jesus in some gold scrolls that were sort of talked about but never shown. And, the Mormons will know it. The Mormon boys will know what I'm talking about. You're scared shitless of being gay. Like if you're a Mormon, if you're a young Mormon guy, you're really freaked out about being gay, even in this modern day and age. That isn't good for you. That's not really good for you. If you're a Mormon man, you might be able to break free, but you're really chained to your religion. You guys are. But I want to tell you, in the Church of Latter-day Saints, you copied the King James Version word for word, and there's no really going back without admitting your whole book is fake. And then there's another group for whom it is see if I can find it. I know I did it here somewhere. What did I do with it? Oh, maybe I didn't do it. Maybe I didn't prepare something. So I'll just talk about it. I thought I downloaded some JPEG images, but I forgot to make one of those things where I have pictures. So I'm just going to talk about it. The Urantia Book. Urantia. The Urantia Book. Urantia is, according to the book, the name of this planet. And it was given to this planet by basically our creators. So the book is supposedly written with direct help from our creators to fix things that went horribly wrong at the time of Jesus and at the time of Adam and Eve. We were basically left on our own all this time, and the Urantia Book, according to the Urantia Book, is trying to help that by telling you what's really going on. That you have a soul and there's a system and all of that. Now the problem the Urantia Book people have is the being who is a really big deal, like as big a deal as Jesus in the Urantia Book is, Lucifer. It would seem that even in this huge book, which is a couple thousand pages almost, and is very well written because I've read a lot of it, because and whoever wrote it was, I think a team wrote it, because there's just too much. You would have to be very well read to write that book. It's just so well written. Unfortunately, they did not know enough about religion and religious history to know, well, it was written before they ditched Lucifer, before the councils, the Synods, is that how you pronounce it? In the 1970s and 1980s, the Western churches, they have their fights. Not the Catholics, but all the other ones. The Lutherans and the Anglicans and all of those. They do talk to each other, and they all agree that this Lucifer's got to go. That's such an obvious area. We got to clean that one up, and they cleaned that up and a couple other little things. I forgot what I was talking about. But for the Urantia Book people, the whole book is basically about a being named Lucifer who is rebelling or has rebelled against God. And in the Urantia Book, God is talked about as existing on several levels of existence. And basically the Supreme Being, you don't really, it's been a while since I read it, but there are levels that could be approached, and Jesus was in fact a real representative of God and all that. So the Urantia Book, by admitting Lucifer is fake, has to admit that the entire book and the entire organization is completely fake. Sorry about that, guys. Girls, ladies, gentlemen. Your book. Your book is fake. And Church of Latter-day Saints, your book is fake. And it can be proven. It's so easy to prove. And for you Mormon boys and you people that follow, your parents were into the Urantia Book, or because it's been around a while. I've been to a Urantia conference years ago when I was trying to, who are these people? And I went and there were some gay people there. There were gay Urantia Book readers, and they truly believe this. It's a really, if you get into it, it's like, you don't have to worry about hell. That's the big deal in the Urantia Book. Stop worrying about hell. There's no hell. Stop worrying about it. But there is a progression, and if you want it, you have it. And Jesus made sure of it. That kind of thing. Okay, because I know now this was supposed to be a really short video, and now it's not a short video. It's one of these really long videos I did not intend to make. How close can I get to you guys? Pretty close. Hi, am I on the right camera? Yes, there you are. See, I'm testing out different cameras and different lighting. The lighting should be coming over from here, which is the photographer, so he likes seeing what the lighting does and all that kind of stuff. So for all of you boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, you have to have your God. I'm not going to call you stupid, you're just not well enough educated to understand how ridiculous the whole idea is. The idea of gods is about people trying to have power over you and grasping for authority from God. And the Roman Catholic churches and other churches, but the Roman Catholic in particular, have committed horrific things in the name of God. They used to burn people alive. Worse than that. If you think it's worse than being burned alive, they had things that were worse than that. How about a red hot poker shoved up your bum? That kind of thing. Or having your tongue cut, having parts of you all cut out, and your eyes cut out, your tongue cut out before they actually got around to sticking your feet in the fire, before they actually got around to actually killing you. They made sure you really suffered. And these were the kindly Roman Catholics. They did that to people in spades. So you have to have a God. So Butch is very well educated. Butch is into physics. You can believe me or not, but listen to what I have to say and work it around your head, and maybe you will come to agree with me that where are we there? You'll come to agree with me that this is not a bad idea. So in the world of, I got to tell you, because I'm very well educated, in the world of physics, there's a ton of bullshit going on. A lot of papers are being cranked out daily, monthly, by the year, by scientists doing really good work. They're not wasting money. They're doing terrific work, doing research, but they need money in the term of grants, and you cannot get a grant unless you publish a paper. And if you haven't discovered anything yet, you got to publish something. So tons of papers are simply old ideas spruced up with a few new. We'll paint the barn yellow this year, but it's the same old theory. And the serious scientists, they all know this because they know. But most of you out there, your eyes just glaze over when people like me and other physicists start talking quantum theory and stuff. You think, what? Excuse me, I gotta go to the bathroom kind of thing. You don't want to hear it. You don't understand it. You don't know what orbitals are and stuff like that. So there's no agreement. What I'm going with is there's no agreement among the best educated scientists on the planet what's really going on. And in fact, there's a theory of everything, a brand new theory of everything comes out all the time. I've written my own theory of everything. I have a really good theory of everything. We all do. Am I right? Maybe. I don't know. But among the best theories of everything is that you just have to accept that time is a kind of an illusion because we're alive and experiencing it, and the past physically may still be there, but it's constantly changing moment by moment, second by second, and it's never going to be the same. That even if you could go back to the past where you were, it will have changed since you were there. So time changes, the past changes. The future is yet to be written. It's the changes that are yet to come. So for the people that have to have God, they have God because they want something or somebody that created all of this, forgetting that you have to ask the question, well, where did God come from? So I'm going to tell you where God came from. If you must have a creation that created things, I'm going to tell you what God is. God is everything. All at once, all of the time, everywhere. You are, in the world of physics, my world and my fellow nerds, you are a point source in time and space, moving, believe it or not, at millions of kilometers per second. Our galaxy is moving at millions of miles per second through space, and we're moving at millions of miles per second through space with the galaxy. And that's on top of us trying to rotate around the Earth, which is also going along, so we don't actually make a circle, we make a long spiral through space. Basically, we're almost traveling in a straight line in terms of velocity, overall velocity. So within that, everything, that is God, and you are participating. You are a node in the matrix, which is God, which is everything all at once, everywhere. You're a node, and if you reach out to somebody beside you, they are a node in that reality as well. So God is everywhere, all at once, all of the time. And so that God gets to experience all of this in all its horrors, in all its pain, in all its ugliness, in all its hatefulness, in all its love, in all its beauty, in all its pleasures. God right now, how many people have we got? 8 billion? And there's a baby being born every second, so out of every orgasm, there's probably one baby born. So God at this very moment on this planet is having 20,000 orgasms a second. How cool would that be? he would blow your mind, but you're God, so you've got a big mind. You're everything all at once everywhere, and if there's other planets with other inhabitants, you're having an orgasm continuously. But at the same time, people are hurting you, people are betraying you, you're lying in a bed somewhere in a coma. That's God, and fortunately you get to change the experience to make sure that you didn't get stuck in some sort of rut forever. God makes sure that you die. Will you live again? You're already living again. That's the point of it all. So if you really want to be reborn in your brain, you can think, well, somewhere when you die, a baby will be born somewhere, and you won't remember your past, just like you don't remember most of the things in your life, and you'll just keep on going, but you're a new person. And for those people that believe in, my old brain has forgotten the word, retribution for your past lives, if you were a real dickhead like Donald Trump, maybe you'll be born into the slums of India. Try that for a lifetime. Maybe 10 of them. You're getting my drift there. Karma, that's the word I was looking for. So for those people that believe in rebirth, they're sort of along what I'm telling you about. God is everything all at once, all the time. So if you must have a God, if it's just like, please God, have my God, then that's your God, and praying will do you nothing. It's useless. It's up to you. It's all up to you. You're God, remember? So you got to make it happen. So make it happen. And you can change things. I'm in relatively good shape because I've always sort of, exercised. That's just something Butch does. These are sort of new to me because when I started getting older and started losing weight, my skin, my nose is itchy. It always gets itchy when you want to exercise, doesn't it? Stop that. It's probably a hair sticking out or something. Old man hair. You pick them out, but they come right back. So in order to get my biceps to fill in a bit and not have a whole lot of fat, I hope, I started exercising more, and then I just got, bigger dumbbells. These are 15-pound dumbbells, and if you're just starting out, start out with like 8 or 10 pounds. And even if that's all you do is 8 or 10 pounds, the trick is doing it regularly. Like, do it preferably every day, but if you can't do it every day, at least a couple times a week. So Butchie Poo, pretty much through his life, has always done something a couple times a week. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. And because this video is way longer than I thought it was going to be, I think I'm going to burp. Excuse me, I got to wet my throat. I'm wearing ErgoWear briefs. These are ErgoWear briefs. I ordered them like 5 months ago. I gave up. I thought they were never going to come. And then yesterday they showed up at my door, so I thought, I'll show you guys the ErgoWear briefs. Let me see one. So these are the, I got a gut, old man gut. I can suck it in. These are ErgoWear briefs. They're sort of cool. They're deliberately comfortable around the boys there. So I have to wet my throat. That's better. I just yak like old men do. And I thought I was organized, but I'm never as organized as I think I'm going to be. Let's go that way. Review that way. So for all of you boys and girls that are terrified of God, if you have to have a God, you have to understand you wouldn't want a God unless it was a loving God. So if you can't let go of your God, just take it from Butch that all those people out there trying to frighten the hell out of you, your God is kind. To me, Jesus was just somebody. Jesus is, he's a guy that, when you stand up against the gods, you get yourself in trouble. Socrates, I like to call myself, I don't deserve to call myself Socrates, but he does. I take Socrates' apparent view of the world, which was, I know nothing. And he was a real annoyance to his fellow citizens. In order to go into the agora, the market in the city in which he lived, you had to be a citizen, and you had to be over 18, that's for sure. And he was apparently always asking people questions, just constantly. So if he wasn't annoying enough that way, what got him into trouble was not sleeping with boys. All the men did that. That was just part of Greek culture. You bumped the younger guys to train them. Sounds like a good idea to me, but homosexuality was just completely normal amongst the men. And outside the agora was reputed to be a taverna, a tavern, and evidence has just recently been found that yes, there was, because archaeologists have just recently started digging up which they believe was the taverna, where Socrates himself hung out. And because the young men under 18 couldn't go into the agora, drinking was no problem, plus the older men could go there and pick up a guy. You know what I mean? Might make a buck or something, The old dude might pass a few pieces of silver, that kind of thing was going on. And it was just a good place to hang out. So the young men hung out there, apparently. This is how I've heard the story, so I'm just relaying what I've heard. Sounds good to me. So Socrates liked to hang out there too, as a lot of older men did, to pick up a younger guy, take him home and do things. And he was preaching his own beliefs, and this is what got him in trouble. Not that he was bonking the boys, but he told the boys, oh, the gods are all a bunch of hooey. That's just a bunch of crap. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Well, this didn't go over very well with the dudes that looked after the temple. They needed people to come to the temple and leave them money and food and stuff. And if there were no gods, that wasn't going to work very well. They were a democracy, so they didn't really need a god that much. I mean, they voted on stuff anyway, so they weren't going to listen to what the priests said. But the priests were some sort of guidance, I don't know how, but somehow. But the priests depended on the upkeep of the temple, of people believing there actually were gods. And it was really, some of our more terrific ancient stories of gods come from the Greeks. So the priests were behind instigating a trial for poor old Socrates, and he had to renounce what he said. He had to admit, sorry about that, I apologize, I'll do penance. Yeah, that was just, sorry, there are gods, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full, sir. Well, Socrates, he said, fuck you, and he killed himself. So Socrates we consider to be the father of Western philosophy, because you remember all those young lads that hung out at the taverna? Names like Plato, does that come to mind? And you know where I'm going with this? The other great, what we would call Western philosophers, came from that taverna. So, what else am I supposed to tell you? It's too long, so I think I'm going to shut up now and call this to close. I think I gave you young guys the a definition of God. God is everything all at once, and you're going to die, so get ready for it. I'm trying to get ready for it. I'm in poor health, and I've applied to the government to kill me, please. And it's going a bit slow because my first coordinator thought I was a bit too weird, but I have a new coordinator. And I'm trying to hang on to the end of October, but I live with a lot of pain. A lot of aches. My life is not fun. But I try to stay in shape. I try to encourage all you young lads to stay in shape. I keep looking at my screen because I don't know what I'm doing, but I keep forgetting you're there. Don't look at the screen, Butch. So stay in shape, exercise. Can't think of anything else. I'm wearing ergo wear. I think I talked about that. He goes on and on and on. So I'm finally going to wrap this up, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section below and say hi to me. And I'm gonna, I can't see word dick in my old age. See, I'm recording this in Open Broadcast Studio. It's streaming software that you can record while you're streaming, so you don't have to stream. And I use it for. I'm looking down at my computer down there. I use it for recording because you can prepare scenes in advance that you can switch back and forth. So obsproject.com, you can download the current version, and take you a little bit to figure out how to use it, but once you get the hang of it, it's really terrific. So I am going to reach down here. I'm on stop recording, and I'm going to go, bye from Butch.